Hi everyone, this is Charan here. Welcome to my channel. If you don't have any coding experience and wondering if you can learn data science, I'm going to exactly show you how to learn data science from the basics. You don't need to have any coding experience. I'm going to show you step by step in order to build all the skill sets that is required for you to become a data scientist. When people were reaching me out in order to know how to get started with data science, I used to wonder why people are reaching me. There are so many resources online, but still why people are reaching me to know. What I understood very quickly was abundance of resource has become a curse. Like people are very confused. They don't know where to start, how to start, which tools to use, which is suitable for them, which is not suitable for them. And hence, all these confusions is bringing down the confidence level, and hence they are not able to proceed further in data science. I'm going to clearly show you how to become a data scientist. I'm going to show you all the tools that are available and how to go with them, how to learn all the basic skill sets that is required, how to scale up, learn much more concepts, and how to make sure that you are comfortable with the various skill sets that are required across the pipeline of a data science projects. Not only that, I'm also going to share some of the tips that is required in order to enhance your profile and in order to increase your chances of getting a job as a data scientist. So stay with me and watch till the end of this video. I'm going to clearly show you all the tools, tips that are required for you to follow in order to become a data scientist. Before starting with the plan, I want to share one of the common mistakes made by many people who are trying to learn data science. Many people try to start with something very interesting, like some concept that is very complex. For example, someone might be very interested in image recognition, so they try to start with that particular problem. Someone might be very interested in deep learning, so instead of learning the basic algorithm, basic concepts, they try to directly go into the neural networks and deep learning. So this is one of the biggest mistakes that anyone could make. When you are starting to learn data science, it is very important to understand that it is going to be a long journey, and you need to keep up your motivation high enough in order to ensure that you are going to complete that journey. If you start off with a difficult topic, the chances of getting into issues are very much higher, and whenever you hit an issue, it brings your motivation down, and hence your chances of dropping off or stop learning data science is much higher. So what I would recommend is, if you are not confident with the basic topics, you need to spend enough time in order to learn the basics that is required in order to become a data scientist, and then only then move on to the complex topics. So let's get into the plan and then see how to build up the various skill sets that is required in order to become a data scientist. The three most important skills that is required for a data scientist is programming skill set. You can choose R or Python. Both of these programming languages are very common. The second one is SQL. You need to know how to query the data from various databases. You need to know SQL in general because it doesn't change from one platform to the other platform. The third one is you need to understand the basic statistics concepts. You can ask me, is math required or not? So in data science, the math that is required is the high school level of maths. So whenever you come across an algorithm and you come across the mathematical concepts behind the algorithm, you can anyway go back and refresh those concepts. So what I would say is these three are the most important skill sets that is required for you to build up. So now you don't have any coding experience. So now how to build these skill sets? How can you go ahead and learn all these skill sets? So I'm going to show you exactly how to go forward. The first most important skill set is, as mentioned, programming. Learning to program using Python or R. From reading the data set, doing the data exploration, visualizing the data, doing the feature engineering, model building, everything requires scripting. There are various AutoML as well as no-code ML solutions that are available that are generally used to automate some of the repetitive tasks. But if you want to grow as a data scientist, then you need to know programming. So how to start with programming? So you can choose either Python or R. So one of the platform that you can make use of is Code Academy. If you don't have any coding experience, you need not go through the technical process of installing various tools. You might run into various issues, and that will be enough to stop you from going ahead. So what I would suggest is, if you don't have any coding experience, if you are not confident enough in installing Python, Jupyter Notebook and other related stuff that is required for you to go ahead and then learn coding on your system, make use of these platforms. So these are the web-based platform which doesn't require you to install any tools. You can read about the concepts, you can learn the coding on the browser, and once you are comfortable with the scripting, so then what you can do is then you can download the tools or install the tools, either RStudio or Jupyter Notebook, and you can try them on your system. So first, if you don't have any coding experience, what I would suggest is I would strongly recommend you go into these platforms where you can learn programming on a browser. The other advantage of making use of these platforms are it's very easy, like whenever you are traveling or whenever you are whenever you have some spare time, what you can do is you can just open the browser and go into this platform and then go through the topics, and then you can practice coding. Let's see in detail about these web-based platform, like how the platform is looking and how it is easy for you to learn coding. As you see on my screen, this is Learn Python 3 from Code Academy. The syllabus is good enough. It covers all the basic important topics that are required to understand Python programming. So some of these topics are how to get started, what are all the various control flow, list, loops. It covers other data types like strings, and it covers function, various modules, dictionaries, files, and classes. So all these are the basic concepts that you need to understand in order to get started with Python programming. If you choose R over Python, so then Code Academy has a course for R. So here is the syllabus for R. It is quite good enough. It covers all the basic topics that is required for you to get started with R. The various topics that are covered here are to understand about the RStudio, what are all the data frames are, like how to do the data cleaning, the fundamentals of visualization, how to aggregate the data, join the data from different sources, the basic statistic function that can be performed using R, doing the hypothesis testing. So this is good enough in order to understand the basics about R. And once you are comfortable with the basic programming, like either Python or R, what you can do is you can install these tools on your system. If you are going ahead with Python, what you can do is you can install a Jupyter Notebook, or like you can install Anaconda, which by default installs everything that is required for you to get started. If you are going to go ahead with R, so then what you can do is you can install RStudio, which installs R as well as the IDE that is required for you to get started. So this is the platform that is very useful, especially if you don't have any coding experience. For people without any coding experience, the most important, the first challenge that they face is installing the various tools that is required to get started. Whenever you run into some issues, like after installing Python, let's say you are not sure about how to get it started, so then it is good enough to demotivate you and stop you from proceeding further. So what I would suggest is, if you don't have any coding experience, go for these online platforms and learn to code. And then it is still important for you to install these tools and then practice on your system. But to get started, use these web-based tools. Okay, so now after going through the web-based tool, when you are learning programming on your system, what is required for you to learn? So some of the things that are required for you to focus are the different data types, like both in Python as well as R, depending upon which programming language you are choosing, and what are all the various operations that can be performed on those data types. What are all the various control statements? Get comfortable with if then else, for loops, and while loops, because these will be frequently used when you are programming, especially for data science. And get comfortable with the functions and lambda functions. So a lambda function is something that is available in Python. So learn about the similar functionalities like one-line functions that are available in R that can be made use of, because having functions will ensure that you can avoid duplication of scripts. So that's it about the basic programming. So this is good enough for you to get started. Like, you need not focus about the various other functionalities of either Python or R. So all this is very good enough for getting started and getting into the data science. So now once you are comfortable with the programming like R or Python, so then next important thing is learning SQL. So why learning SQL is important? Because generally the data provided to you in the learning environment, like maybe even in title, are quite clean enough. But what happens in reality is, in any data, like in any organization, the data science team will need to figure out how to fetch the various data that is required in order to solve the problem. So all the data that you will be working on will be present in the database. It can be any database. It can be an SQL server, it can be MySQL, or it can be Teradata. Like, it could be anything, but the key point here is that you need to know structured querying language. Once you are comfortable with SQL, whatever be the platform, it doesn't make much difference. The syntax might vary slightly from one platform to the other platform, but the core functionality, the core techniques that you are going to learn is not going to change from one platform to the other platform. So this is applicable even in big data. So if you are going to access and big data, you will be making use of Hive, so which is also very similar to SQL. So once you are comfortable with SQL concepts, so then whatever be the platform, wherever be the data is located, it will be easy for you to write queries and fetch the required data in order to proceed forward. So how to learn SQL? So similar to R and Python, Code Academy also has a course for SQL. So as you see on my screen here, so this is the syllabus for learning SQL. This is quite basic enough, but covers all the important topics that is required for you to learn about SQL. It teaches you about how to access the data, how to create a table, how to update a table, how to manipulate it, what are all the various queries, like how it should be structured, how to do the aggregation, and when the data is present across multiple tables, how to write a single query that can join the data from multiple tables. So all these concepts will be good enough in order to make you comfortable with the basic skill sets that is required about SQL. So once you are comfortable with SQL, so then the next important part is to understand in real life scenario, like how it could be. Writing a query to join two simple tables can be very straightforward, but in a real life scenario, the environment will be much more complex. It won't be very straightforward enough in order to join different tables and get the required data. So what you can do is you can make use of a platform called as Learn SQL. So as you see on my screen, this is another platform called as Learn SQL. It also has various hands-on courses that is required in order to understand SQL. The other good part of this particular platform is it provides you some real-life scenarios that exactly replicates what happens in the day-to-day job of a data scientist. You will be provided with some kind of a scenarios, and it is required for you to make use of the tables and then create the script that is required in order to fetch the data to satisfy a particular scenario. So this will be able to make you much more stronger or much more comfortable, or I would say this will make you ready for a data science job. The third foundational block that is required for a data scientist is basic statistics. Statistics helps you in better understanding the data. It helps you to perform various tests that are required to identify patterns that are present in the data. So where do you start for statistics? Like many of you who have no experience in scripting, or who don't have any mathematics background, it is very difficult to understand or to identify the various resources that are relevant for learning statistics. So one good course in order to learn about all the basic statistics concepts that are required for a data scientist is the course on Khan Academy. So as you see on my screen, so this is an course on statistics and probability. It covers about various topics such as analyzing the categorical data and how to display and compare and quantitative data, summarizing and quantitative data. What are all the various distribution, exploring bivariate numerical data, how to perform bivariate analysis and identify various patterns, and what is probability, and what are all the various concepts under probability, like the permutation, combinations, random variable. It also includes sampling distributions, like whenever you want to identify a sample and perform some analysis, these techniques can help you in better understanding and better coming up with a good sample. And what are all the confidence intervals, what are all the significance testing or hypothesis testing, and the two sample inference for the difference between the groups whenever you have two different groups, like before a particular feature launch and after a feature launch, and you want to understand if there is any difference, whether a feature has made a difference in the characteristics or in the way the user is using the platform. So then these kind of tests will help you to clearly understand whether there is any significant differences or not. seen on a naked eye will not tell you much of a difference. You need to have statistic tools in order to clearly tell whether there is a significant differences or not. It also teaches you about inferences from the categorical data, like making use of chi-square test. It covers about the regression, ANOVA, and all the basic statistics that is required for you to get started with data science. If you feel that this particular course is too much, it covers too much of the statistics concepts, and you don't want to learn this many topics before getting into data science, you can of course avoid this. All these topics are really important. You need to learn these topics at some point in time, but while getting started, maybe you can choose only the very important topics that are required or being used around 60 to 75% of time while in the day-to-day job of a data scientist. So then what you can do is you can opt for the second one. I have a detailed article here about the various statistics concepts that is required in order to getting started with data science. So this covers all the important topics that are used about 70 to 70% of the time in the data science jobs. Also, I have a playlist which covers about the statistical concepts that are required. So each video here is approximately 20 minutes, and it has it is a playlist with 10 videos. So approximately in 3 to 4 hours of time frame, you will be able to understand about the various topics. So even though it can be covered in 3 to 4 hours continuously, what I would recommend is you spending each 1 day for each video, because after going through a particular concepts, it is important for you to learn much more about those concepts. It is important for you to try it by yourself. So it should be it should take you around 2 to 3 weeks in order to get comfortable with the basic statistics. So what we have covered so far is the 3 foundational blocks, like basic programming using Python or R, and SQL, and then basic statistics. All combined together should approximately take you maybe 1.5 to 2 months if you are focusing only on the basic concepts that is required. So now, how to scale up your skill set and learn some more advanced topics. So once you are comfortable with the basic programming, Python, R, SQL, as well as basic statistics, the next one is to focus on more advanced programming in Python, like how to visualize data. Visualizing data is very important because visualization helps in getting out the patterns out of the data. So if you have different types of data, like if you have a data that is represented as an table, as an chart, or as an text, you will clearly understand that the visual representation helps clearly in communicating the patterns or insights that is present in the data. In most of the business presentation, we would recommend you using some kind of a good visualization in order to translate the insights, also to make sure that all those insights are easily being absorbed by the business teams. So visualization plays a very important role in the success of a data science project. I have an article here, as you see on my screen, which covers from the basics of visualization, how to start visualization using Python, how to make use of matplotlib library, and how to move ahead with the advanced visualization, how to make use of Seaborn. Seaborn is a very good visualization tool that is especially useful in order to come up with quick visualizations. You can come up with visualization with just one line of code, no need to define too many parameters. And finally, how to build interactive charts. So this article here, it has all the required scripts for you to get started with visualization. So once you are comfortable, what I would recommend is read your own data set, come up with your own visualization, and then see how good you are or how comfortable you are with visualizations. So after getting comfortable with visualization, the next part is getting comfortable with the data analysis. Any data scientist would spend about 70 to 80% of his time in analyzing the data. It is really important for you to understand the data to the best of your ability. So what can you learn? How can you learn about data analysis? There are various techniques depending upon the type of the data. You can choose the different techniques that are available in order to explore the data and understand the various patterns. So to start with, if you don't have any programming experience, so then as you see, so this is a course on Coursera. It is a 2-hour course which covers the basics of exploratory data analysis using Python. So if you have some amount of experience in Python, like if you are slightly comfortable with Python as well as pandas, or if you have already completed this 2-hour course, so then I would strongly recommend going ahead with the data analysis using Python. So this is a course which covers about all the techniques that are required in order to understand about the data analysis using Python. So as you see on the screen here, so a lot of people have found this particular course very useful. Like close to 2 lakh people have enrolled for this particular course, and about 16% of people have found that there was some kind of a tangible benefit out of this course, and 12% of people were able to start with the data science job after completing this particular course. So this course approximately takes you 13 hours, and it covers the syllabus is quite comprehensive. It covers all the things that are required for you to understand about exploratory data analysis and data handling. So after completing this particular course, so then if you are still interested in learning much more concepts, so then what I would recommend is I would recommend you learn about various feature engineering. So feature engineering is something that is important, like it involves like how to transform the data in order to make it suitable for the model that you are using in order to forecast or in order to predict whatever is required. So to learn more about feature engineering, as you see here, so there is a course on Cadle which will teach you all the basic feature engineering concepts that is required for you to get started. So these are all the various concepts that are being covered as part of this small crash course, and this particular course has 7 lessons. It approximately takes you 5 hours of time, and again, like you can spend 5 hours, learn all the things that is required, and I would strongly again recommend spending few more days in order to make use of all the concepts that you have learned, to make sure that you are comfortable with all these concepts. So if you started with 0 coding skills, by now you would have learned basic programming, SQL, statistics, visualization using Python or R, also performing data exploration using Python or R. So all these concepts are good enough for you to even start a job as a data scientist. But we are not going to stop here. What we are going to do is we are going to spend some more time in order to making sure that our foundations are strong enough. There are 3 options here, like 3 different courses here, depending upon the skill set and depending upon the programming language that you are going ahead with, Python or R. I will show you the various 3 options. It is important for you to go through these courses. Of course, you can skim through these courses if you are very much comfortable with some of the topics. But if you complete these courses end to end, it might take you like maybe 2 to 3 months or even 4 months of time. But once you complete any one of these particular courses, you will be very confident in the data science concepts. You will be very confident about the various skill sets, activities that are performed across the life cycle of a data science project. So let me show you what are all the various 3 options. So as you see on my screen, so the first option here is applied data science with Python. So this is a course from the University of Michigan. So this course is suitable for people who are already confident about the basic programming, like who are already confident with the exploratory data analysis, who are confident with visualization using Python or R. So if you are already confident with all the topics that we have covered so far, so then you can directly enroll for this particular course here. So that there is not enough focus on basic statistics or basic data analysis. It pretty much quickly moves on to the model building, and it will teach you about the various algorithms, the various basic concepts behind those algorithms. But if you think you need to spend some more time in order to build a very strong foundation, I will maybe suggest you the other 2 options. The second option, as you see here, is data science specialization. This is from the Johns Hopkins University. So this course is using R. So it covers everything, like from the basics of R, whatever you have covered, whatever you have learned already will still be introduced in this particular course. This is quite a comprehensive course. Like it says, like if you spend maybe 3 to 4 hours per week, it will take you approximately 11 months to complete this particular course. What I would recommend is, if you are serious enough in data science, maybe if you could spend close to 10 hours per week, which is approximately 1.5 hours per day, so then you would be able to complete this course in 3 to 4 months of time, because you would be already confident with some of the basic concepts. So then if you skim through the basics or the concepts that you are comfortable enough, so then you would be able to even complete this course in 3 months of time period. The third option is for people who want to go ahead with Python and who want to build quite a strong foundation, who want to learn end to end from the basics up to the model building and deployment. So then the course is IBM Data Science. So this particular course is being taught using Python. This is quite attractive because it's been using Python, and approximately 20% of people who have signed up for this particular course have ended up with a job opportunity or found this particular course useful in order to get a job as a data scientist. So that's it about all the things that is required for you to learn in order to become data scientist. So while learning data science, there are some important things that you need to ensure that you follow. Some of the important things are: make sure that you have goals. It can be very small goals, but you need to have goals and you need to track the goals till the end. All the courses that we have seen so far or they all have some kind of a progress tracker. The web-based tools that we covered, using Code Academy, all the other short courses using either Kaggle or Coursera, every single course I have covered so far has a tracker. The statistics playlist that I have is a 10-day playlist, so it should be like a 1 video per day. So it also has some kind of a tracker. So what is important is, every week you need to have a plan, like a week by week plan, and you need to stick to the plan. If you see that your plan is not working out, you need to change your plan and then make sure that you made some progress every single week. You need to make sure that every day you go to bed with some kind of an additional knowledge. Why it is important? Because consistency plays a huge role in your success. Also, the other important thing is, make sure that you share your wins as well as goals. So if you share something on your social network, you ensure that you stick to it. It increases the accountability and it increases the ownership for you to ensure that you complete it. So what I would recommend is, come up with a plan, share it on your social network, share it on your LinkedIn, and track your plan. Share whatever you are learning on a daily basis or on a weekly basis to ensure that you stick to it. Learning data science is kind of a long game. You need to ensure that you have enough motivation to complete it and get into a job as a data scientist. Whenever you face an issue, understand that this is something that is part and parcel of a data science job. So no matter how much experience you have, you will run into issues. But what is important is to understand, to know that there is a huge open source community that is available, which will help you in order to troubleshoot all your issues that you have with the data or with the scripting that you are writing. So having said that, how to ensure that you get a job as a data scientist? I'm going to share some quick tips that will be very helpful for you to build your profile, build a good portfolio website to showcase all your skill sets, and also to increase your chances of getting hired as a data scientist. So what are all those tips? So first, the most important thing is networking. It is really important for you to have a good professional network. To share an example like why professional network is very important, one of my friend recently looking for a data scientist position and one data engineer position. He gave an advertisement on LinkedIn and he ended up with approximately 200 plus resumes for each profile. So it was almost impossible for him to go through all those profiles. And do you know finally what happened? He ended up recruiting people through referral. He was not able to go through all those 200 resumes. So please understand that your professional network is really important. Like if you don't know many people, like if you are searching for a job in a new city, there are ways to increase your professional network. There are various meetups that are happening. There are various data science events that are happening. You can go to those events and introduce yourself to various people and ensure that you are expanding your professional network. Not only that, you can just reach out to people, read them online, share your profile, share your portfolio, ask them for the feedback. By that way, you can get introduced to a lot many people. You can also chat for your friend's friend or various people who are in your friend's organization, in your senior's organization, to ensure that maybe they can provide you some kind of a lead or introduce you to the data science team. So coming to the tips for getting a job as a data scientist, the first one is to identify the right company. So if you have some kind of work experience already, and if you plan to move into data science, what I would suggest you identify the company where you can leverage your current skill sets. It may not be like the exact skill sets on the job. It could be something like the domain experience that you have. So if you are coming from an operational background, so then what you can do is you can make use of that experience. You can leverage that experience and look out for data science job in logistic industry to ensure that you are able to leverage your experience in operations. The next one is the important thing that is required for you to build a portfolio. A lot of people are applying for various job positions. Like every single job position, like you are competing with approximately 100 to 200 different people. So it is important for you to have a portfolio website where you showcase your skill sets. When you have a portfolio, it increases your chances of getting hired as a data scientist. It shows like it is a proof that you know something, that you have built something. So it is important for you to have a portfolio website. If you have no idea about building a portfolio website, as you see on my screen here, so this is an article written by me. It covers about building an portfolio website for yourself. It's quite simple. It is making use of the GitHub pages, and you would be able to come up with a portfolio website in a few hours time. Like if you have some kind of a basic understanding about GitHub, so then it shouldn't take you more than few hours. The next important part is for an interview, the most important part is having a good resume. So how to build a good resume? So there are various techniques that you can follow in order to ensure that your resume is of high standard. So what are all those techniques? There are some tools available as well, which helps you in building a good quality resume. There are various templates that are available. If you want to know how to make use of all these tools and come up with a really impressive resume, you can make use of, you can go through this article here on my Medium page. This article here covers about like building and quite impressive resume. So it also covers about the various tools that are available, which can be made use of in order to come up with a good template. It also covers a concept called as Google's XYZ formula, which is very useful in order to convert your accomplishments into an high impact statements. For a lot of data science job positions, the resumes are being shortlisted by algorithms. So it is important for you to ensure that your resume has the keywords as well as it has quite impressive, high impactful statements to get shortlisted for the job. And finally, before the day of your interview, what is required is you should not focus any time on learning any new concepts. So whatever you have learned so far should be good enough, but you should focus on the job description, the job role, as well as spend some time to understand about the company. If possible, try to go through their blogs. If they have a blog, try to understand about their recent product offering, what they are doing currently, and any recent news about the particular company. Any additional effort you made in order to know about the job position or the company clearly shows that you are interested enough, and then you have made effort to know more about what they are doing. So that will be making a huge impression, like if you could do it. And finally, on the day of your interview, be confident enough and at the same time be open about your strength as well as your shortcomings. People looking for data science job or for any job for that matter will be looking for people with high integrity, people who are quite open with what they can do and what they can't do. No one is going to reject you because that you don't have a particular skill set. If you show like your ability to learn new things, people will be willing to hire you. This is especially true if you are going to start your journey as a data scientist for an entry level job. They are not going to expect you to know all the topics that is required for a data scientist. All they will be looking for is how strong are you in the basics concepts and how willing are you to learn new things in the future. So that's it about learning data science. And if you are looking forward some kind of a motivation to learn how people with not much coding experience have made through in the data science job, I will share a few articles in the description. Make sure that you read those articles. So it is about the people who are able to get into data science without having any coding experience and who are able to do it within few months time. So that can be a good motivation for you to keep you motivated and complete this particular learning journey. So that's it about learning data science and getting a job as a data scientist. I hope this is useful. If you find this particular video useful and if you think that this might be helpful for a lot of other people as well, make sure that you comment and you share on your social media to ensure that this particular video reaches a lot other people as well. So that's it for now. If you like what I'm doing here, please give a thumbs up and share this video, and see you on another day with another topic. Bye for now.